Hello, hello, hello. Let me get on Facebook right quick. Very interesting. I tried to do this earlier and didn't work out so well. So let's try this again. So hello, everyone. Yes, I had to come back. I had to do this again because, of course, the first one didn't work out well. I got 2 phone calls, I think 2 text messages. Let me make sure that my phone is off now, just because I want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So, okay, so it's completely off. So anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about anxiety because often when I speak to my clients or I even speak to my children or friends or whatever, it's such a negative connotation about anxiety. And what is interesting about anxiety is it is a natural thing. Way back in the Bible times, when it said don't be anxious for anything, of course, when someone tells you not to do something, it's because one, you're either already doing it or that they expect that you will do it. So I say that to say that anxiety is really normal. It's normal for us to be anxious. And I feel bad when people feel like anxiety is such this awful thing. And so I wanted to talk today a little bit about anxiety as a protector. So one thing about our body and our brain, it has memories of things that have happened in the past. It remembers past experiences all the way from when we were in our mother's womb up until now. And so these memories we record, and it lets us know how to perceive what is going on in the here and now. So I'll give you a great example. If I walk by a house and the garage door comes open and a big dog comes out and he runs to me, naturally, it's going to scare me. I'm going to be startled. So it could be 2 months from now, I may walk by that same house or a different house altogether. And if the garage door is open, my anxiety is going to say, wait a minute, is this safe? Is another dog going to come out, or is this dog going to come out? And that's how anxiety works. It's usually based off of something that we've experienced in the past that has caused us to be more alert, that has caused us to be more worried, that has caused us to second guess ourselves. We don't like to make mistakes. Sometimes you'll find students double checking things over and over again just to make sure that they have something correct. Or sometimes people are not good test takers because they second guess their answers. You may have perfectionists that work so hard to have things on time, or to make sure that things are correct, or to overanalyze situations to make sure they're correct. Even high achievers, if you have I used to have high achievers in when I used to teach for Wilmington University, and it was always those ones that had so many questions. They wanted to make sure that the assignment was right and that they didn't get anything wrong. They didn't misunderstand anything that I said, just kind of wanting to make sure they didn't mess up. And so a lot of times anxiety comes from that fear of failure. So say I have a client who had a speech impediment when he was younger. And so he's really, really anxious even now, even though we're talking 30 years later, of sometimes speaking in front of people, even though he speaks fine. But remember, anxiety usually comes from our past experiences. So if he's had a past experience where he felt different, or maybe the kids teased him about it or whatever, then naturally, fast forward, he may have some reservations. And so anxiety can show up as like test anxiety, as I said before. It can show up as a social anxiety. It can show up as overthinking and worrying. It can show up as second guessing ourselves. But the thing about it, we want to remember, however it shows up, is it's not a negative thing. Usually anxiety is designed to prevent something from happening or to protect us from something happening. And usually, once again, it's something that may have happened in the past to either us or someone else. And our anxiety is kind of kicking in to try to prevent that from happening, in the future. And so because of that, we don't want to think of it as a negative thing. We want to think of it as that overprotected mom that says, hey, you better make sure of this. You better make sure of that. Double check your answers, double check this or double check that. And so it's these different ways that anxiety shows up for us. Now, some of the struggles with anxiety and why we don't like anxiety sometimes is because it may prevent us from having fun. Sometimes it may prevent us from walking into situations or going new places. It may prevent us from introducing ourselves to new people. Sometimes it may prevent us from trying out for that new job, or because of the nervousness, the worry, the concern, the fear of not getting it, the fear of failing, the fear of not being good enough. So in those ways, anxiety can kind of be a struggle. Another thing about anxiety usually is sometimes it takes us out of from the here and now. And so either we're worried about something that we did in the past or something that happened in the past, or we're really anxious about preventing something or worried about something happening in the future. And with that, it takes us out of us enjoying the moment. So instead of you enjoying this really fun thing or this really great experience or this really good settled time, you're thinking, oh, when is the shoe going to drop? I know this isn't going to last. And that's your anxiety saying, hey, we better be careful. We don't want to get too relaxed. We don't want to get too comfortable because we want to be prepared just in case. So I want you to think of your anxiety. One of the things that we talk about in sessions a lot is, one, let's accept our anxiety. Even if we don't like it, let's accept that it is. Once again, don't worry or be anxious for anything means that you're going to worry and you're going to be anxious, and maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you shouldn't worry as much. And so since we do normally as humans, what are we going to do about it? So first we want to accept, I'm pretty anxious right now. Like whatever this is has really got me worried. This has really been on my mind. I'm not sleeping. I have a lot going on. First, we need to accept that we are anxious instead of trying to act like we're not, because that makes it harder. When we try to act like, oh, no, I'm not anxious. This doesn't bother me. Oh, I'm just going to pray about it. But no, sis, you're anxious. So let's just accept that first. And then now what are you going to do about it? So now that I know I feel this anxiety in my body, I can tell that my body is tense. I can feel it in my shoulders. My heart may be beating fast. I may have a headache, a tension headache. Now that you know that you're anxious, now what are you going to do about it? Are you going to meditate? Are you going to pray? Are you going to talk to someone about it? Are you going to go for a walk? Are you going to take some deep breaths and maybe exercise or stretch? Like, what are you going to do about your anxiety? Maybe you're going to journal about what is on your mind and how much is bothering you. The key is anxiety can be a protector. It can prevent things. It can prepare us for things. It keeps us on our game. It keeps us on our P's and Q's. But if it's really a struggle for you and it presents a problem, then what's the next step? What are you going to do about it? I hope this was helpful for someone. Talk to you soon.